Welcome to 4 o'clock, 29.2 degrees Celsius, 55% humidity. It is 7:21, Tuesday, 85.4. And we're charging. Nice overcast, humid day. And I believe this is for Calvin. He asked me a question, or actually he stated a fact. He had a 200 ES that he finally got running. He was trying to figure out what CDI to use and all that, and he finally gets it fired up. I guess he had his friends at a local shop do some valve work for him. Anyway, he smashes the whole engine together, or they smash the whole engine together. He gets it to fire up, and specifically he fires it up on starting fluid, and it's running, but it's blowing oil all over the place. Well, I got the idea from the description. He was blowing oil from, that's the cam. This is the cover that goes over the cam. And notice the O-ring in here. So I don't get the idea they changed that O-ring. They didn't have a gasket set and they didn't bother. But that's not all that hard to change. You push it out the back and you very gently put it in, making sure you put pressure only around the edges. Typically use a socket to tap it in. Then once again, you just seal it. Should seal right up against there and give you a nice tight seal. And then this surface to the block, you kind of have belt and suspenders. You see you got an O-ring going around the outside, right, or a gasket going around the outside, but you also have an O-ring around the inside. This O-ring, you see the gap is not in good shape, but this would go like that, and then this would smash down on top of it. Right, and you would seal right around the edge, obviously bolt on. So this is where your magnetic advance, your centrifugal advance here would go, and then you would have your CDI unit on top of this. So that's the first place it was leaking oil. But the indication of the way it was coming out, jetting out of there, has me a little concerned. He also indicated that he was blowing oil. It's always good to have an engine where you could just reach out and touch it. He was blowing oil out of this hole. I have yet, and I mean count them, between the engines there and there and there and here and all over the place. I have not had one yet to blow oil out of that vent. Never. And it kind of, quite honestly, surprises me. So how could it do that? Honestly, you're thinking bad rings, and bad rings could do that. But I'm also thinking possibly a bad gasket, right? Because then when you fire, you'll be putting a load of pressure into here, right? And firing pressure, especially if it blows right into there, I mean, obviously it's the same as going by the rings, but it's hard to go by all those rings, right? There's 3 rings. But that's in pretty ugly shape, isn't it? Right? I mean, there's 3 sets of rings there. I'm wondering if you don't have a blown gasket there. I would probably do a compression test on it and see what the compression test tells you. If your compression's up there, then maybe do an oil compression test on it, see if it improves. Let's say you do a compression test, comes in somewhere around 50, and I think it'll have to come in somewhere around 50 because it did start 50 or more. And then you put some oil in there, and the compression goes way up to, I don't know, 130, 140, 150. Then I'm thinking, yeah, your rings are probably shot, and you're probably pressurizing your case with blowing by the rings. If your compression comes in 90 or so, 100, and you put some oil in there and it goes up slightly, not a whole lot. Now I'm not thinking you're blowing by the rings. I'm thinking more likely is maybe you have a blown head gasket and you're blowing across here. I know you really don't want to put any more money into the bike, but gasket set is like $25. Set of rings, another $25. I mean, for $50, you know, you might be able to pull the thing out of the muck. I don't know what the shop is going to want. To pull the jug off and all that, throw a quick hone on it, throw it all back together. I don't know. You're looking at probably a couple of hours of shop time. A hone. I didn't say bore. I said hone, right? The rings, you got to kind of slide them in here, and then make sure you got the right gap and file, and then gap to make sure of that. So I don't know. A couple of hours of shop time, another $50 worth of parts. Do you really want to say die? On your 200 ES, especially if it's a nice looking bike. I mean, if it's trash, you know, if it's Mr. Junkyard or something, I could see you saying no. But I don't know what it's worth on resale out by you. If you can kind of, I don't know, if it's got 3 decent tires, a seat, and all that, it's got to be at least a $300 bill, right? If the engine's put together but not running, everything's there, and it just needs a little bit of love, I don't know, $350 maybe you could get for it. I don't think you're going to buy another one for that. Don't know. I don't know. I probably wouldn't give up on it yet. I would probably once again do the compression test, put some oil down the cylinder, drops, not quarts of oil down the cylinder, see what the compression comes up with, and then make a decision from there. I don't think you really want to quit on it. Your son likes the bike. So anyway, so a couple of quick videos. One, I believe the last one I made was for Sims, and I believe this one, I believe your name is Calvin. So hopefully these videos help and keep you guys moving forward. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Make sure you keep your feet down, keep your head up, and keep moving. Let's try to keep as many of these bikes alive as possible, right? We really don't want to let them go to the junkyard. All right, folks, take care now. Bye.